All right. Let's start up. Let me get a little background music or something. I feel like the video is better with background music. But yeah, we're back. It's your boy Papa Dom and very very handsome, very sexual, very toy Dr. Bob, and we're here to talk about some more Hearthstone cards today. The Boomsday project launched. Bob, you've had a chance to play around with a couple decks on stream. What are some initial thoughts?
So far I got my one free legendary just for the expansion, and then I got my golden legendary for pre-ordering the extra pack, whatever the fucking bigger one was.
Yep.
And I got in my opinion, two of the best legendaries. I got Electra Storm Surge for Shaman and a golden Phlebinus Fluke for Druid. So I haven't had time to make a deck for them yet. I got, what else? Dr. Boom, Mad Genius, and then I think I got two legendary spells. Nice. Yeah, I got Floop's Glorious Gloop, and I think I got one more. I can't remember.
It's so fucking goofy.
But yeah,
I love it.
I played. The only one I had time to play so far was the Pogo Hopper deck I decided to make for Rogue, and I'm 50-50. I only played 2 games, but the first game I played, I had. At the end of the game, I had an 11/11, a 2-mana 11/11 Pogo Hopper on board, and I had another 6 in my deck. So
that's pretty fucking wild.
If it got to it, I was gonna have a 2-mana 23/23 at some point.
So I know we were talking about when we were doing the last card reviews, which cards we might see getting nerfed, which ones we might see not making it much further in their current state. Do you think Pogo Hopper is the early indications is that it's too hot right now?
No. I think you need, because in the second game that I played, I didn't have the combo pieces I needed to make Pogo Hopper work. So my issue was I couldn't draw it. I think I drew 1 the entire game, and at that point, I couldn't combo out a Pogo Hopper and a Lab Recruiter to cycle more into my deck. So if you're playing against more aggressive decks, fast-paced aggressive decks, that's pretty much where that deck falls short. You're not going to be able to. It's tough to stabilize against an aggressive deck, maybe a Face Hunter deck or some shit like that. Mm-hmm. So I decided to. Oh, I got Ziliax as well. I decided to throw in Ziliax, the legendary mech that's basically the mini Alakir.
Yep.
And then I also threw in another mech. It was a 3-mana 1/5 with magnetic. So I could play both of them on turn 8, and then I end up having it's 8 mana for a 4/8 or something like that, or a 4/6 with Rush, Lifesteal, Taunt, and Divine Shield. So it helps get a little bit of lifesteal back. It helps clear the board a little bit, and it establishes a nice wall that they have to get through. But that's the only way so far that I've been able to stabilize if I'm going up against an aggressive deck. If I'm not, the value that you get from Pogo Hopper is disgusting.
That's wild.
It's disgusting how much value you can get. And the way I'll once I iron out the creases in the deck that I have right now, because I have a lot of I probably have too much value in my deck with Baleful Bankers, Lab Recruiters, Shadow Steps, which I probably don't need, Valera, stuff like that. Once I iron out the rest of that deck, I'll put up something on the website that goes over how this needs to be played. It needs to be played more of mid-rangey to try to get as many out as you can by, say, turn 6 or 7.
Yep. And
then once you get into late game, it's just so much value that you get out of it. I don't know. I think I can make a very good deck with Pogo Hopper Rogue.
Yeah, and that was our pretty much one of our first predictions. I mean, stop me if you've heard this before, but we tend to predict things pretty accurately.
Yeah.
But that was probably one of both of our favorite cards out of all the ones that we looked at. And we're going to talk about some more favorite cards. So the first page of legendaries that you're looking at right now, we've actually talked about the majority of these already on our Hearthstone reviews. So there's only 2 here that we really haven't talked about on this first page, and that's Flark's Boomzooka and Luna's Pocket Galaxy. Luna's Pocket Galaxy sticks out to me first. Change the cost of the minions in your deck to 1. It's a 7-cost legendary spell. I mean, I like my knee-jerk reaction if I like ignore the top half of the card is like, wow, I love this, and then I remember that it's cost 7, and it's just like, is it too little, too late for mages?
Yeah. So the only way I see this card working out is if you can get 2 Sorcerer's Apprentices on the board before you play this. So if you have
It's like kicked over my fucking printer. Go on.
If you have two Sorcerer's Apprentice on board, that drops the cost to 5, and that's not terrible. So if you can get 2 of those on, like, say, turn 4, what do they cost? 3 each. So if you get 1 on turn 3, 1 on turn 4 without them being able to clear the board, at turn 5 you could play it, and that definitely works. That's definitely good payoff later on in the game. But if you can't, I mean, even if you can get the cost down to 6 before you play it, that's a little bit better. But then think of like what kind of deck is going to run this. How many decks do you know that just run a bunch of minions and mage?
Nothing.
Exactly. Like I can't think. They're all spell based. I mean, even secret mage or like tempo mage, they only run like a certain amount of minions, and then they run a bunch of spells.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The only way I see this working is if a minion-based mage deck becomes prevalent, and then you would have to implement like Archmage Aragel, and probably throw in some elemental synergies, and then throw in like Frostlich Jaina at the end. That's really the only way I could see it working.
That's what I was thinking of. My mind went to Frostlich Jaina, but at the same time, it just sounds like this is an insanely late game thing. I mean, I don't know if that's going to see a whole lot of use. If this was like a 6, even a 6 cost would make this a whole lot better. I would even take this at like a 5 cost, change the cost of your minions in your deck to 2 or something. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like that's a lot more reasonable, but I could be wrong.
It's like a worse version of Quest Druid, but I don't know. Even at that, on turn 7, you're just playing this at turn 7. You're not doing anything. You're not affecting the board.
Yeah.
You're not clearing the board. You're not doing damage to the opponent. You're not healing. You're not stabilizing. This is trying
like
to set up for later on in the game.
Like a backup, like Hail Mary card, where it's just like, hey, I hope I draw like a really good elemental next or something like that to kind of synergize with something. And yeah, Night Howler just said it in the chat too. This is like a backup plan card. This doesn't seem like nobody's gonna build a deck around this.
No.
But yeah, it seems like a backup plan to me too. And then we've got Flark's Boomzuka. Flark's Boomzuka. Summon 3 minions from your deck. They attack enemy minions, then die. I think that's going to be a great meme spell. Like, I don't see this. This just seems like the worst. Like it seems. I mean, for like, you know, I don't know, like Face Hunter, you know, where it's like a lot of low cost minions that are just going to get like, you know, kamikazed across the board anyway. I can see that, you know, getting some use, but aside from that, I really don't see that being, you know, that's another one. That's another like kind of Hail Mary there. It's just like, oh, I'm losing board control. I have a tempo deck that's kind of outpacing me. You know, let me summon a bunch of minions that'll hopefully clear some space and regain some board control. So I feel like that'll definitely see some value in the decks that use it, but I don't think anybody's like rushing out to craft this.
I think the only deck that'll ever run this is like a Death Rattle deck, a Death Rattle Hunter deck.
That's
because at the end of your turn, they just die.
Yeah.
So if you can play this at turn 8 and say you have a couple of, the only problem is Death Rattle cards aren't that great. Like there's no fantastic Death Rattle cards. Like Karen Bloodhoof is probably the best Death Rattle card in all of Hearthstone right now. No, Karen Bloodhoof is still in normal rotation.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That's like the only way I ever see that card working is if a Death Rattle Hunter deck becomes prevalent, and I don't think that's ever going to be the case.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, Witchwood had some good Death Rattle Hunter cards. I mean, I don't know if I love the idea of like kind of going out of your way to do a Death Rattle, Hunter deck. Like Devilsaur Egg comes to mind, like Savannah Highmane comes to mind. Like that would be kind of cool. I don't know. I mean, it might be. I mean, I think I think that'll be like a sleeper. I think we're gonna see some pretty great videos out of that. We'll see some pretty great plays. And I know Death Rattle Hunter decks weren't uncommon in like the Witchwood meta. I mean, it was just kind of a, it was a low percentage, but it was definitely something people were playing around with. So I don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll see some good value out of it. I don't know that anybody's rushing out to use it, like I said, but
yeah, I don't think so.
Page 2, we've seen, we talked about Xeric Master Clona, we talked about Xeric's Cloning Gallery, we talked about Myra's Unstable Element. And you've got an Electra Storm Surge.
Yep.
The next spell this turn casts twice. That seems like it's going to be absolutely fucking devastating. Have you got a chance to use it yet?
No, I haven't, but I'm going to try to build an Elemental Shaman deck. I guess like the biggest issue I have is I don't have Kalamos right now, and Kalamos is a pretty big staple in Elemental Shaman decks. But I think this will fit perfectly into anything that has I'm gonna say like Hagatha, anything that has Hagatha in a Shaman deck.
Yep.
Once you start chaining out like elementals, you're getting all of their battle cries, and then once you play a minion after you play Hagatha, you're getting more spells. So at some point you're going to get a useful Shaman spell, and then at some point you're going to be able to use Electra Storm Surge. So like you can get a complete enemy side board clear with Electra Storm Surge and then Lightning Storm. That's 4 to 6 damage for the entire board. You could get double Healing Rain if you really need a stable. And that's you heal 4 instead of 12. That's ridiculous. There's just so much that can go on with this. You could double Lava Burst for what, 8 damage, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot that you could do with this card. I think it's going to see play in a lot of different Shaman decks for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of things that are going to appear in a lot of Shaman decks, the Stormbringer, I fucking love that. I think Evolve Shaman was kind of losing a little bit of steam. But I mean, throwing this in like a token Shaman deck that focuses on, getting a bunch of smaller elementals out there, I think that could be fucking devastating. That's just like the best Evolve card that you can get. I mean, I think I don't know. I think that'll be pretty devastating for anybody who's like foolish enough to not to like let board control slip a little bit. I don't know how you feel about it.
I think the only way I feel like Evolution was just more consistent than this, just because this is random legendaries. So with Evolution, you're always getting a minion one higher cost than what you already had, unless you play Thrall Deathseeker, or what is it, Thrall Deathseer, where it's two costs more than what you already have on board.
Yep.
So that's just way more consistent. And at that rate, they could also transform into higher cost legendary minions. This is just 7 mana for random legendary minions. You could just get really bad minions.
You could get 3 really fucking Millhouse Mana Storms, and or 3. There was another fucking Archmage card that I was thinking of, and I couldn't think of it. It's like the 1/1/1 spell damage one. But yeah, I mean, like Evolve Token Shaman isn't anything new. Ungoro like started to really see that, and then I think this is a cool card. I mean, I think that we're going to see some value out of it. I don't know that this is like a must-have, but I think it's definitely a really interesting one. I definitely think that Shaman players got a really good shake for this expansion so far. These are 2 pretty good cards.
I'm going to disagree with you. I don't think Stormbringer is going to see any play.
Really?
I don't think it's going to see any play. There's too much randomization in that. I get that like token shaman makes sense because like if you're playing a bunch of random 1/1s and then you transform them into random legendaries, that could be good. But like in every other shaman deck, there's no reason to play this card. And token shaman's not great. Like evolved shaman disappeared, so because it rotated out.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't think 7 mana is too much, and the fact that it's all randomized, I think that's just gonna make it.
Yeah.
Like it could be meme play, but it can't. I don't think it'll ever see actual ladder play.
Yeah. I mean, I love I love this with, you know, like Voltaic Burst and what am I thinking of? Primal Fin Totem. You know, I think if you're a good, you know, if you get a good, you know, token control evolve shaman deck, you know, you can really I think you can do some damage with this. I mean, you're right. You're probably right in that it's probably going to see more like meme play than anything, but it'll be entertaining nonetheless.
Yeah, probably.
The 2 Warlock legendaries, Solarium, draw 3 cards at the end of your turn, discard them. I love that, personally. As somebody who's played a lot of Warlock, especially in the last 2 expansions, coming up short on cards that are like really important to your deck, especially late game, absolutely blows dicks. So having the ability to just like dig deep, especially late game when it's a 1-cost card, that could swing a game. I think this is one of my favorite legendaries that I've seen so far.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. This is probably the best legendary in the entire set. If you're playing a zoo deck, it doesn't matter that you're discarding them at the end, because if you need it, like later on in the game, you just play this, you get 3 cards. You could play literally all 3 cards that you get, depending on what you get. But like you could just dig for whatever you need at that moment. If you need a taunt, you play this, you get Vulgar Homunculus. There you go, you have a taunt.
Yep.
And who cares if you lose the other 2 cards?
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
just trying to get board pressure.
Yeah, exactly. I think what's the other, like the really really big taunt Warlock? I've got 2 of them in my deck. It's like Void. It's not Void Lord. Void.
Yeah, that's Void Lord.
Yeah. You know, it's turn 10. You know, backs against the wall. Solarium, Void Lord. That's all you need to kind of like get a little bit of control back and just start to be a nuisance again. So, you know, for a lot of people, it might, you know, this is like, what was the one that we just saw before? It was Luna's Pocket Galaxy, where all of your minions are cost 1. This is like an infinitely better version of that, where instead of relying on drawing an okay minion next turn, you're actually drawing 3 cards for 1 cost, and you know you're probably gonna get something that's useful. So
yeah. The only issue I see with this is like if you're that late into the game and you really need to stabilize that bad, if you play Solarium and then you draw, say, a Void Lord, and then you draw what the fuck is the Death Knight?
The Lich King?
No, not the Lich King. The Warlock Death Knight card.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I can't think of the name off the top of my head.
Now I just hold on.
Blood Reaver Gul'dan?
Yep, Blood Reaver Gul'dan. So say you're at turn 10, you're really digging to stabilize. If you play Solarium at turn 10, you can draw both Void Lord and Blood Reaver Gul'dan. All you can do is play Void Lord, and then you lose Blood Reaver Gul'dan at the end. You pretty much lost your turnaround play.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I see that could be bad, which is why I think this card might not see play in anything besides a Zoolock deck.
Yep.
But in a Zoolock deck, this is essentially a staple. This is you put this in every single Zoolock deck you can craft.
Yeah, I think this is gonna find play fucking everywhere. Like I think every Warlock that gets this is gonna want it. I mean, this is probably the one legendary that I've seen so far that like, if I'm a big Warlock guy, I'm going out of my way to craft this if I don't get it.
I don't think it would see play in like the more slow paced control late game decks like Cube Lock or like Control Lock. I think there's too much risk when you play this in those kind of decks that you lose a piece of your combo that you're really gonna need. That's the only reason why I don't see it coming out in those decks. But even when saying that, Cube Lock and Control Lock aren't super prevalent right now. They're not seeing much play after Possessed Lackey got nerfed and after whatever the fucking card was that destroyed Possessed Lackey and healed you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Zulok is going to be a huge deck this expansion, and I think this card is going to be in every single Zulok deck. But besides that, I don't think it's going to be in other. I don't think it'll be in other Warlock decks.
I'm just imagining like back against the wall, late game. You're not looking too hot. You Solarium and then draw, a Lord Jaraxxus, and all of a sudden you're like just hammering every single turn. I don't know. I mean, there's going to be. I think we're going to see some really, really good play out of this. It might not be a must-have for everybody, but I think for most lock players, it's going to be really useful. Dr. Morgan, I'm not crazy about. An 8-cost 5/5 Death Rattle. Swap this with a minion from your deck. I think there's so many Warlock minions that like have great battle cries. There's a lot that have shitty battle cries like discards and stuff. But this would be cool if you got like a what's the one with charge? It's the 5-cost one, and it's got like 5/2, and it has charge and it discards 2 cards. Doombringer. That'd be cool. Yeah, replace it with a Doombringer or like something else, or like a Dread Inferno. Doomguard, yeah.
Doomguard.
Yeah. I don't know. There's some cool stuff there. There's some cool possibilities. I don't see this being like a must-have.
This is just a worse version of Possessed Lackey that can go relatively infinite if you play Baleful Bankers and shit like that. But even at that point, like, how infinite does a Warlock deck need to go? It doesn't need to go infinite. It just needs to get to late game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that card's ever going to see any play. I don't think it's worth it.
No. We've got last page. We've talked about a lot of these, actually. We talked about Dr. Boom Mad Genius. We talked about the Boom Ship. We talked about Whizbang the Wonderful, which is still like my favorite card ever. Weaponized Pinata, I still think is the goofiest fucking thing I've ever seen, but I love it.
Why do they have that categorized as legendary? Oh, just because it says
because it adds a legendary minion. Yeah, there we go. Can we just talk about fucking Mechathune for a minute?
Yeah.
What?
I played against it earlier today. I played against a mid-range mech warrior deck, and I was playing Hadronox Druid, and he tried to play this like it was gonna work, but there was no way it was gonna work. He played it like halfway. He played it at turn 10. So I don't know. There is so few occasions that this will ever work.
Like, I don't even know. Like, can you Mechathune on turn 10 and then like Bone Merit on turn 11, and then like maybe that's the last card in your deck, so like the enemy has to hit it, and then in the meantime you just I don't see any. Because
you can't have Bone Mare on the battlefield.
That's true, unless you're trading it. I literally don't even know.
So say you Bone Mare this, and then they actually kill Mechathune, it doesn't go off because there's a Bone Mare.
Right.
On your battlefield.
Maybe
there's so few occasions that this could work.
There's plenty of literally the only way I can see this working is like if the last card you have no cards in your deck, you have one card in your hand and it's Play Dead, and the one other card on the battlefield is Mechathune, and in that instant, that is literally the only thing I can think of. That is literally the only thing. I'm sure that people are gonna be like, "Oh, Dom, you're a fucking moron." I literally could not even tell you any other way that this could be possible. I'm sure that there's one other way that I can think of,
Cube? And that's with them. No, because then Cube's still on the board.
That's right. And then summons two.
And then once Cube dies, you get 2 Mechathunes. The only other way I see this ever working is in one of the rogue decks where you play Myra's Unstable Element and you go through your entire deck, and then Mechathune's the last thing. Mechathune is the last thing you ever get onto the board, and then even at that, you have to hope that they don't have a Spellbreaker, they don't have a Polymorph, they don't have a Hex, they don't have any form of silence.
They don't have a Counterspell.
Right, and then it still has to die. That's the thing.
Yeah, fuck this guy.
I don't know.
I can't wait to see like the first YouTube video that comes up of somebody getting an absolutely like dumb fucking win with this, And I'm definitely like, somebody's gonna get beaten by this, and it's just gonna be like, all right, well, I guess it's time to uninstall this game. Hilarious card, but Jesus Christ.
There's only one other effect that has a destroy the enemy minion effect, right? And that's with Uther, the Uther Death Knight card for Paladin.
Yeah.
Where you pretty much
horsemen.
summon. Yeah, the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
And even then, I've never had any luck with that. I have that card, and I've never had any luck with it.
I've seen it happen on in YouTube videos, but that's it.
And it's like, oh, cool. You could have built a Murloc Paladin deck and beat him in, 8 turns instead of fucking 30.
Yeah. In 10 minutes instead of making it to fucking turn 65.
Yeah, instead of the hour-and-a-half YouTube video that I just watched.
Yeah.
I like Harbinger Celestia, kinda. I'm not, like, crazy about it, but...
That's another one of the legendaries I got.
Super interesting. Like, after your opponent plays a minion, become a copy of it. If you're playing a face hunter and they just fucking summon an alley cat, then I guess you're kind of shit out of luck, but...
Alley cat rotated out.
Oh, yeah, it did. I forgot that was Gadget Zan and not Unguro. Whatever. They play a fucking fiery bat, and all of a sudden you're a 1/2 fiery bat, and I don't know. I like that this is it's stealth, but not. But I mean, it's not just like while it's stealth. So this could change. It sounds like this could change at any time. The only question I have about this card is, if your opponent plays a minion, become a copy of it. Does it do that in your hand, or is it or does it do that only when it's on the board? Because I feel like that's not clear. Because if it's,
I don't know actually.
If it does that in your hand and it has stealth, that's fucking bananas. That can't
I don't think that's the case, because I feel while in hand after your opponent plays a minion, become a copy of it. So that would essentially be like the opposite of Flabidinous Floop, where instead of you playing a minion, the last minion you played, Flabidinous Floop ends up being that card. This in that scenario, if that's how this card works, that would be the opposite of that, where it's whenever the last card your opponent played.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case. I think it has to be on the board when it happens, and then when it happens, that's when it transforms. So at that point, it's pretty much only a friction card. We are playing this for, what is it, 5 mana? 5 mana, 5/6?
Yeah.
So 5 mana, 5/6 with stealth. There's so many ways to get around that. Like, I don't know. I got this card, and I think it's probably one of the worst legendary cards in the entire set. Yeah. I don't think the only way it ever sees play is if it against like combo decks like Malagos, anything with Malagos in it, or like anything with Hadronox in it. But even at that point, you would have to have spells that do damage in your hand to utilize the Malagos, or have a shit ton of taunts that you already played to utilize a Hadronox. Besides that, I don't see this card ever, like, it's too easy to play around.
Yeah.
Like they could play a 1 mana card. Say you're going up against a mage and they play Harbinger Celestia or whatever it is. Yeah. You could just play what's the 2 mana 2/1 or the 1 mana 2/1 that lets you play a secret for free? I don't remember. But say they play that card.
Yep.
Then they could just play any fucking form of AoE to get rid of it.
Yeah. Shrek is Love 69 just said, my 2 goldens that I got were Mechathune and Harbinger Celeste. Feels bad, man. Enjoy your dust. I was literally just flipping through Hearthstone comments, and I had that up on the screen for a minute, and there's literally only 2 situations in which this card is even remotely relevant. And one of the comments from this guy Sam Tuck says, I can see this being played in a shaman deck where you're facing a pesky Duskfall Aviana Druid. Turn 4 you play this, turn 5 they play Duskfall and Aviana, and I mean, but it's super situational. He links like fucking 80 cards, and I'm like, okay, it's never gonna happen. And the only other thing,
nobody plays Duskfall and Aviana though. That was the worst legendary in the last set.
I don't even.
Nobody plays that card. That card sees no play right now.
And the other one is this is like this must have been a Blizzard dev who wrote this. The strength in this card isn't going to be getting the copy of a monster minion your opponent played. The strength lies in utterly jacking up your opponent's curve, especially in the late game. They won't want to play a valuable minion and give you a copy, so it forces them to use resources to remove this guy, use resources on playing a low-value minion, if they even have one in hand, or deal with an overstated minion on turn 4. I see this as more of a stalling and disruption mechanic other than a stealing mechanic. The designers are all about creating scenarios that lead to interesting choices. So,
yeah, all it is friction on the board. That's all. That's literally all it is.
Yeah.
If they don't play anything, congrats, you played a 4-mana 5/6 on turn 4. They don't play a minion next turn. You get to do 5 face damage, and then there's still more friction on the board. But like, there's nothing else. There's so many ways to get around this. It's never going to. I don't think this card is ever going to see play.
Yeah.
Just like Dustfallen Aviana. Dustfallen Aviana never saw play.
You're more than likely right. We got a couple left. I think the only ones that we have left are Ziliax and Subject 9. So you have Ziliax. Did you get a chance to mess around with that yet?
Yeah, dude. Ziliax is a top 3 legendary card in this set. Hands down. It doesn't matter if you have any mechs in your deck. Ziliax is a staple in every single one of them. It just does too much. It does so much. For 5 mana 3/2, stats aren't great, but look at all the effects you get. You get Magnetic, which means you absorb the stats of any other mech that's already on the board, which I implemented into my Pogo Hopper deck for a little more stabilization. You get Divine Shield, Taunt, Lifesteal, and Rush.
Yep.
So say you already have a mech on board, you play Ziliax, you gain its stats, you get to clear a minion off of the board, you get the bonus stats that you already have, you get that back in Lifesteal, and then you still have Taunt.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes into this
so
card.
fucking good. There's so much value
It's going to see so much play. I'm telling you, it's going to. Any deck that runs a mech in it, if you have Ziliax, you're putting in Ziliax just because it's that good of a card.
Yeah, it really is fucking dope. I'm like, there's going to be a lot of versatility, and I really hope that when I log into Hearthstone later on, that's the first one I open, but I will most likely get Mechathune. So, we've got Subject 9, draw 5 secrets from your deck. This seems like the battle cries, draw 5 secrets from your deck. This seems like a card that a boss in a Hearthstone solo adventure would play, where they just have 5 secrets. It reminds me of, I think it was Professor Putricide from the Lich King, the Frozen Throne, like solo adventure. I'm pretty sure that's just what he did, is he would just like put 5 secrets on a deck at any given time. Cool. Yeah, draw 5 secrets from your deck. Neat. It's a beast, which is cool, so they're probably going to see some like Hunter synergy there. But I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm pretty like middle of the road with this. This is probably like the okayest card that we've talked about.
You know what deck this. I think the only time you're ever going to see Subject 9 is just listen, hear me out on this one.
Okay.
In a no Hunter spell deck, right?
Yep.
And when you play Deathstalker Rexar and you build a beast, the only time you'll ever see Subject 9 is a build a beast Subject 9 with another beast. That's the only time you're ever going to see this card. It's not going to be good in Secret Hunter, because on turn 5 you want to play your Spellstone.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to that's the most impactful turn for a Spell Hunter, is to just up to turn 5 you play as many secrets as you can. Maybe you put out an Eaglehorn Bow, do a little damage, and then on turn 5 you play Spellstone, and that's your big turn play.
That's probably the most fucking accurate take that we've had so far, is that like if it's a part of if it's even a part of Deathstalker Rexar, I'm not sure if like they're still adding beasts to his like repertoire, but yeah, that's pretty fucking accurate.
that's the only time you're ever going to see this. So say for instance that happens. You play Deathstalker Rexar on turn 6. You're playing no minion spell-based hunter. You get the following turn 7, you craft Subject 9, and then maybe a 1-cost card, so it's 6 mana.
Angry Chicken.
So that's Angry Chicken. That's not even bad. That's a 6 mana 5/5, and it can draw whatever secrets you haven't played yet. if say you just never drew into your secrets, that helps, but that's the only time you're ever going to see this card. Like maybe it sees, I don't know. Like I don't even think it's going to see play in like Secret Mage. There's already a lot of great stuff in Secret Mage that you don't need any of this because it's so it's such a fast-paced tempo-based deck. You don't want to wait till turn 5 to draw the rest of your secrets.
Yeah.
I mean, just like looking at the card, reading its description, it's incredible. It's a 5-mana 4/4. You draw 5 different secrets. But when you implement it into any deck that runs secrets, so there's only, 4 decks that run secrets? Hunter, Mage, Paladin, and Rogue. Mm-hmm. Rogue doesn't have 5 secrets. They only have 3, I think. It's never going to see play in Rogue. Paladin doesn't have good secrets. They're all 1-cost secrets. It's never going to see play in Paladin. Mage is already good enough as it is. It's not going to see play. It's too slow of a play in Mage. Hunter, turn 5 is set for your Spellstone. The only time you're ever going to see this is from a Deathstalker Rexar build. And that's if you haven't already played all your secrets. I don't see this card. Everything about it says it's a good card.
Yeah.
Everything that is involved in this card, every single piece of this card says it's good. If this was a 4-mana 3/3, sure. But no, not even that. No, it would have to be like a 2-mana, like 1/2 or something like that to draw your secrets. But you can't because it would be too little of a mana cost to draw 5 fucking cards. This card, there's no balancing this card. I don't think.
Yeah, this card is I don't even know. I feel like even like I mean, I think people are gonna get excited and immediately throw this in a Secret Hunter deck and start like jumping on ladder with it. But I don't know how good this is gonna be. I mean, I don't even hate that it's a 5-mana 4/4. Just by itself is a great stat line. I mean, that's cool. I mean, that's a pretty good card. You can't really get rid of that super easily, and especially on turn 5. That's early enough to draw for control, and but I mean, it's kind of inefficient for pretty much anything else. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, you're disrupting your own curve in No Minion Hunter, where you want to play the Spellstone. Yeah. I feel like you would lose more games than you would previously without this card.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe like a 3-mana 2/3, draw 3 secrets.
Yeah, the only card that I can see this actually working with, and this is a super situational, is Professor Putricide, and maybe you play. I mean, you got to do. I mean, it would have to be Subject 9 first. And then you play Professor Putricide next turn, and then follow that up with, then you have enough mana to follow it up with another secret. That's the only other thing. I mean, they're only going to work. I think they're only going to work together, or with Deathstalker Rexar, if it's a card that is actually applicable to it. Even if it is one of the possibilities.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the card so much. I feel like it generates a ton of value. It draws you. It has the possibility of drawing you 5 cards. A 5-mana 4/4 isn't terrible. I mean, it's not great, but for the effect, it's great.
Yeah.
It's just there's too much disruption in your own deck if you're running a deck with secrets.
Yeah, I'm so conflicted on
4 different decks. 4 different decks in the game have secrets. 4, not even decks. 4 different classes have secrets. Only 2 of them play their secrets. So I don't know. I don't think. I want this card to work. I want them to adjust it so it can work. I just don't. In its current state, there's no way.
Yeah,
there's no way this card sees play.
So we've gone through all the cards. We've gone through all the legendaries. What is your most favorite and least favorite legendary so far for the Boomsday project?
Is there a way to pull all of the legendaries up onto the same page, or is it just segmented by 3?
I can. I think I can only do it like this. This is the way that I have it set up.
You want to go through each set then, each grouping of 8, and
sure. All right, yeah, we'll do that. All right, so group number 1.
Just because I want to be able to see all of them collectively.
Sure, yeah. So group number 1, we've got Floop's Glorious Gloop, Flabidinous Floop, Boommaster Flark, Flark's Boomzooka, Crystalsmith Kangor, Kangor's Endless Army, Stargazer Luna, and Luna's Pocket Galaxy. I don't like any of these. I don't love any of these. I mean, I think Libidinous Floop is cool, but none of these are like my favorite.
I think Libidinous Floop is probably the strongest legendary card in the expansion.
Okay.
Just because Druid is so heavy-handed right now, where there's enough Druid decks where Libidinous Floop could be implemented into every single one of them.
Yeah.
Token Druid, Floop can work. The Treant Druid with Mulch Muncher that I think is going to see some play.
Yep.
Floop can see play. Malagos Druid, 100% Floop sees play because that's plus 10 spell damage. If you have Starfall, you just kill your opponents. Turn 10. Hadronox Druid absolutely can see play. I think he has a spot in every single Druid deck, which is why I think he's probably one of the strongest legendary cards in the entire set.
Yeah.
If not the strongest legendary card in the entire set.
It's absolutely the most versatile. It's probably the strongest legendary minion for sure.
Minion, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I have no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite here. I think my least favorite is Luna's Pocket Galaxy. I'm like annoyed by it.
My least favorite is probably Flark's Boomzuka, unless a Death Rattle Hunter sees play. If that happens, then sure, that card will definitely see play. If Death Rattle Hunter never takes off, Flark's Boomzuka never takes off.
Yeah.
There's too many good Hunter decks out right now that this card will never see play in, so there's no point.
Yeah.
Boommaster Flark is okay if you're running like a Death Rattle Synergy Goblin Bomb deck, which I kind of want to try out one of these days with just like triggering Death Rattles and doing a shit ton of face damage.
Mm-hmm.
Stargazer Luna could work in a mage deck. I don't think it's great, but I think it could absolutely work. You could definitely chain through a bunch of shit with that card. Luna's Pocket Galaxy I don't think it's ever going to work. I don't think that card's ever... It's so situational, and I think the only time it's ever worth it is if you can get 2 Sorcerer's Apprentices out before turn 5 and then play that on turn 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know. Crystal Smith Kangor is definitely an incredible legendary card itself. I think Quest Paladin will see a boost in play with this card for sure. And if you have Linessa Sunsorrow already, those were going to be 2 more of my, or 3 more of my Paladin crafts. The last Kaleidosaur for the quest, Crystal Smith Kangor, and then Linessa Sunsorrow. And I was going to try to do a quest deck with all 3 of those legendaries.
I like where Paladin's going. I think Paladin's going to have some cool stuff.
Yeah, I think they absolutely need to move away from Odd Paladin.
I agree.
I think that deck is too oppressive at this point. They need to do a little more to get rid of it.
This group here, we've got Priest, Rogue, Shaman, and Warlock. Probably my favorite card that I've seen so far, my favorite legendary spell is the Solarium. It's probably the most powerful spell in the legendary spell in the expansion right now. Probably one of the most powerful spells out currently in play. I'm like so confused and so like turned off by Myra's Unstable Element, because like, you know, in Soviet Russia, Rogue mill you, and I'd rather not mill myself, but I'm sure that I'm going to be proven wrong by that card. What are your loves and hates?
Yeah, Solarium is an incredible card. That's probably the best overall legendary card in the entire set, just because of its effect and the fact that Zulok is already really, really out there right now. It's dominating a good amount of the ladder, and yep. Solarium is just going to make that so much better for them. Myra's Unstable Element only works in... Fuck, man, I don't know. Like... I don't even know. I can't comprehend how that card is going to work, so... We'll see what happens. Someone will figure out a way to use it. We've gone over Xeric Master Cloner. There's too much to make that card work. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think Xeric's Cloning Gallery is ever going to work. It's too late game. You could have drawn all your big cards too. Myra Rotspring is okay. Not great, but Death Rattle cards aren't fantastic anyway. Electra Storm Surge is an incredible legendary, probably another top 3 legendary minion in the entire set. Thankfully, I got that one. Stormbringer, I don't really think is ever going to see play, and Dr. Morgan is a throwaway legendary card. I don't think is also ever going to see.
Yeah, that definitely stinks. Dr. Morgan, I'm not crazy about that at all. God damn it, I love Dr. Boom, Mad Genius. And I can't help but love Whizbang the Wonderful. I just don't even fucking care. I love it, and that is the card that I want to see played. I just want to see so much of it. That's the one I'm definitely most interested in. I absolutely despise Mechathune, and I resent that it exists.
Yeah, I mean, I guarantee you people are going to be challenging themselves to get to Legend with Whizbang the Wonderful decks alone. I guarantee you there will be some streamers and YouTubers out there that are like, yeah, dude, I just hit Legendary with Whizbang the Wonderful.
Yep.
Or like someone trying to figure out who the first one is. I got Dr. Boom Mad Genius. I cannot wait to build a deck around that card. I think that card's incredibly overpowered. Boom Ship is going to be great. Harbinger Celestia, I don't think is ever going to see play. Weaponized Pinata is not a legendary card, so I also don't even think it's that great of a card either. But Subject 9 we went over extensively. Ziliax is also in the top 3 best legendary minions in the expansion. I think it's...
Period.
Yeah, I think the toss-up between legendary minions is... And I don't even know which one is number 1, 2, or 3, but it's... Ziliax, Floop, and Electrostorm Surge. Those are just the 3 best legendary minions.
Yeah.
Mechathune is never going to work. It's going to work 1 out of every 100 attempts. So, yeah, that's kind of all I have for all these fucking legendaries, dude.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I pretty much agree with that. I would say Ziliax is probably the coolest one that I've seen that, is really going to get a lot of value. I mean, it's probably the most valuable legendary. I think that Flibidinous Floop is going to be a must play. If you got it, you got to find a way to fit it in. And I just happen to think that we're going to see some great stuff. If you get Whizbang the Wonderful as your like free legendary for just like firing up the game, I think you're going to have a great time with this expansion. Personally, I think you're just going to have a fantastic time.
I mean, you'd have to see what the decks are. I think there's 18 different decks.
I can't wait. So that's all we got. That's the Boomsday Project legendary review in a nutshell. We've got everything you need to know from opinions from me and Bob. We've got them here. So make sure you check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, all that good stuff, and on YouTube. Here on YouTube or here on Twitch. Just search Wicked Good Gaming and you'll find us. So that is pretty much it. Bob, any final thoughts?
Yeah, you could also just look up Not Another Gaming Podcast on any podcast medium, and you could listen to us every single week.
Yeah.
Give you gaming news, your favorite internet dads.
Yes, you can do that. We love you, and we want to take care of you. So yeah, thanks for watching. We love you. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if you do comment on these videos, Chris is going to read your name on the podcast. So please give him something to do. We're running out of things to do with him. We can only throw his toy across the apartment so many times before he gets bored of it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we'll see you next week or on the next video or whatever the next thing we do is. And if you're watching this on twitch.tv/wickedgoodgaming, stick around, stay tuned. I'm gonna switch right over to the new World of Warcraft update. We have the Battle for Lordaeron just dropped, so I'm gonna be playing through that on Horde and Alliance side. So if you want to see those new exclusive cutscenes, come watch that shit with your boy.